hoping to happen tonight?
I hope that it gets turned down and we can keep our lovely landscape, which we've enjoyed for, well, it's been there forever. I've been there 40 years and it's such a beautiful place. It goes back to before Stone Age and there's so much historical history to it that it would just be devastating if they build on it and it would be gone and lost forever.
Do you look across the borough and see other developments that have got permission, and does that make you worry?
Well, it does, yes, because in the whole of England we have now only 14% of grade 2 greenbelt left, and that is in England. And the thing is, to me, I'm passionate about our countryside. Everybody, no matter where they live, should be entitled to some open spaces, and if this carries on, we'll have nothing for our children and grandchildren. I mean, this development, I might not even be here when it's built. I'm 70 now, but it's such, I can't tell you how upset I feel about it. And this is a fight that the whole of England's got to do, because we've lost so much of our heritage, selling off all our industries and electric and water, and now they want to take all our greenbelt. What are we going to have left?
Do you feel a little bit like King Canute sometimes, or do you think we can win this, or we will win this?
Well, I hope we do win it. Obviously, we don't know whether we will or not. It's been quite, I felt quite depressed actually. We have our ups and downs, because one minute we think, oh yeah, we're going to, and then you read or you watch television and see something else has been sold off, and obviously you do get upset. But we must go all the way and fight it, because otherwise, I mean, we can say then we've tried our best to protect it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mrs. Angela Ruff, and I've lived in Thurrock all my life, and I've been an Orsett Heath resident for 40 years. I've been leading this campaign against the proposed development. There's been immense support for this campaign, and you will note letters sent to Planning Department and a petition of 1,000+ signatures from residents. We in Chadwell and Orsett Heath are not NIMBYs and fully appreciate the need for housing for our children and grandchildren within Thurrock. However, this site is not suitable for the proposed 350 homes for the following reasons. This is green belt. The land is grade 2 agriculture historical. There is seriously inadequate road infrastructure which cannot expand and will not cope with the proposed excess increased traffic. There is inadequate sewerage and water supplies in the area to meet increased demands. This will destroy Hornsby Lane. This lane dates back to the days of pilgrimages to Canterbury and is a listed lane. At present, the primary care services are insufficient for residents who currently live in Chadwell. The GPs have caseloads in excess of the national guidance, and it is very difficult to get a timely appointment. There is also only one dentist practice that services the area. Schools are already oversubscribed, and some families don't get the school of their choice for their children. There are already a development of 350 new homes being constructed on the South Essex College site, and that in itself will put pressure on existing services. Residents in this area bought their properties for the location that is semi-rural with views across open fields. It is unacceptable that these views will be lost forever and replaced by concrete. The land provides habitat for many animals and birds and are widely followed and appreciated by thousands of people. My own personal situation has given me extreme anxiety and cause for concern. The proposed access to this site would be in the garden that is to be sold off next door to where I live. Instead of a quiet residential garden, I will be plagued with busy access road for 350 homes, visitors, deliveries, etc., etc. And this is unfair and unjust. There are so many reasons not to have this development at Heath Place, and I do not have long enough to discuss them all. I would ask the developer, why Heath Place, Greenbelt Grade 2 agricultural? Residents do not want it, not in the local plan. I would ask the committee to consider what I have said in my preparation of the residents of Chapel St Mary and Orsett Heath and reject this application. Thank you.
Rice, and I represent the residents of Chapel St Mary and Orsett Heath, many of whom are present tonight, and I'm therefore declaring a non-pecuniary interest as I also live in the area. This proposed development has had a devastating impact on residents of Chapel St Mary and Orsett Heath. In addition to the points made by Mrs Ruff, I would like to emphasise why this development should not go ahead. First and foremost, the land proposed for this site is green belt. Most importantly is Grade 2 agricultural land within the green belt. Government policy for England is set out in National Planning Policy Framework published in March 2012. Decisions rest with the relevant planning authorities who should take into account the economic and other benefits of the best and most versatile agricultural land. Where significant development of agricultural land is demonstrated to be necessary, local planning authorities should seek to use areas of poorer quality land in preference to that of higher quality. The government has also reaffirmed the importance of protecting our soils and the services they provide in the Natural Environment White Paper, The Natural Choice, Securing the Value of Nature, June 2011, including the protection of best and most versatile agricultural land. Current estimates are that grades 1 and 2 together form about 21% of all farmland in England. This is a valuable resource and we should not give it up. When a similar development was proposed in 1978 on this same site, it was refused. One of the main reasons for refusal was that it's land in Grade 2 agricultural and in the Greenbelt. Nothing's changed, Chair. The second most relevant reason for refusal for this application, in the residents' view, is the access to the proposed site. The main access would be from Heath Road, as we've seen on the drawing. This road is not a major road, as described by the Highways chart, and is described as a semi-rural location. The proposed access would be on a sharp bend on what is a country road, measuring less than 20 feet. And I've measured that myself, Chair, so I know it to be true, at the point of the proposed entry to the site. In addition to the inadequate road access, it will be necessary for the applicant to purchase a residential garden on the bend of Heath Road to allow what would be a narrow access point. Heath Road, as described, is in a semi-rural location, has a width and weight restriction on its northern end where it meets with the old A13. Even at present, as described by Matthew, it is often a cause for concern that at peak hours there is traffic queuing to get onto the old A13. In summary, Chair, we are talking about some of the best agricultural land in the country in our Greenbelt with limited and inadequate road access. We are proud of our regeneration agenda in Thurrock and know our planners are thoughtful and considered when weighing up applications. On this occasion, they have recommended that this application is refused. I therefore ask the committee to reject this application.
Having worked extremely hard with your planning officers and statutory consultees, we're pleased that the officers' committee report shows no overriding technical objections to what we've proposed. It's clear that the key issue and reason for the officers' recommendation for refusal concerns the balance between protecting the Greenbelt and the delivery of new homes. In our opinion, there are very special circumstances weighing in favour of our proposals. There is a recognised need for Greenbelt land to be released in Thurrock and the wider country in order to meet borough-wide housing needs. Whilst the site's not currently identified in the Council's plans, we believe that it is a scheme that can be delivered in the short term without compromising wider Greenbelt objectives. 122 of the total number of units will be affordable homes in line with your own planning policy, which we will commit to deliver alongside the private housing to help meet local housing needs. There will be an investment of 2.1 million into local schools, healthcare, open spaces, playing pitches public rights-of-way and bridle ways. Also, there will be on-site provision of a new local park, including children's play equipment, and an extension to Old Housewood comprising new trees, footpaths and hedgerows. Chadwell St Mary's location within the Thurrock urban area as a centre for development and change is identified in your own core strategy as the most sustainable location for growth and development. Throughout our extensive consultation period, there has understandably been opposition to our plans from a great number of people. However, in most cases they already own a home, and it is worth pointing out that there are a significant number of people who behind the scenes at the consultation exercises have asked if they could register with us, desperate to move out of their parents' homes or rented accommodation and finally live in a house of their own for the first time. That need for housing, as long as it is built sympathetically and in a sustainable way, should be a priority for all of us in the country, and I would ask that you consider that need and recommend the site for approval. Thank you.
Areas sort of spreading outwards and merging into each other, and one of the basic principles of the Greenbelt, one of the fundamentals, is you don't stick housing estates on it. Now, Thurrock has a core strategy. Most of that core strategy is around trying to encourage good quality development on brownfield sites to drive our regeneration agenda. We've said this lots of times in this committee, but there are places where we've said it would be appropriate to release bits of what is technically classified as Greenbelt because it could make a contribution to housing need. We believe it's in the right location. All members in this chamber have sat down extensively for hours, looked at those proposals, and all voted on what would be the right locations to go into our Greenbelt release strategy. We've made that decision as a council. This is not one of those sites. We should stick to the decision that we've made, otherwise it makes a mockery of the whole strategic planning process. This committee's made the mistake before, in my opinion, of being bamboozled by looking at the detail. We look at what financial contributions are being made. We look at the particular merits of a given site without thinking about the strategic context. If we accept that this is wrong in strategic planning terms, we don't need to spend hours talking about the details of highways access, green routes, what contributions you'd make to alleviate the pressure on schools and health centres that this would undoubtedly generate, sustainable transport. They're all important, but if in principle this is the wrong development in the wrong location, then we only really need to consider them. I'm getting concerned that we're sending the wrong messages as a committee, and we're starting to say not we will stick by our strategic plan, but we'll consider almost anything on merit and see how it goes on the night. Chair, that would be the wrong message to convey. This is against our strategic plan. We should say that in principle there are no very special circumstances. The circumstances that are being proposed by the applicant here could apply to any green field anywhere in Thurrock almost. And if we don't stick by our plans, then we will just drown under a flood of speculative applications trying to plough up green fields and build houses on them because it's cheaper than regenerating the brownfield sites that we all want to see regenerated.
On a read of this very excellent planner's report, it becomes clear very quickly there are deficits here in the proposal in terms of education, health and transport provision. So, it even doesn't make the grade on that basis. Quite apart, of course, from what Councillor Anderson so eloquently says around, well, this is Greenbelt. It's very eloquent and very striking and lovely Greenbelt in a semi-rural location. Why would we want to give it up? And and I am one who's never been accused of being a champion of the Greenbelt, but this time I think it's just such a straightforward and striking decision. We've got to refuse it. I always move Chair out, should move to a vote.
You talk about green applications till we're blue in the face, and Councillor Anderson has made his point very eloquently about the fact that many of the special circumstances that are applied to this site by the applicant could apply to anywhere in the borough at all. We've had very clear guidance from the Secretary of State that unmet housing needs does not constitute on its own very special circumstances. I see nothing in their case of very special circumstances beyond that really that makes any sense. I think it's quite interesting with this report that we've got this what is quite aged previous application on the site from the 1970s, it looks like. And I just wanted to read out what the Secretary of State, I don't know who it was then in 1978, said about the site. But it says, it affords a precious breathing space and source of natural beauty and quiet to those who live in the modern residential estates around it. Its loss to development will not only destroy this amenity, but will continue the process of erosion of the already limited amount of available open land in the area, to the detriment of the purposes for which the green belt was established. It doesn't really seem to have changed all that much in the last 30 years.
All those in favour of refusal then? So then, to recap, the reference number 13/01102/OUT, land to north of Goodman Road, Cedar Road, very close and adjacent to Heath Place, Chadwell, St Mary, has been refused.